In this video, we're going to take a look at the control center on the iPad with iPadOS 26. The control center is where we can access various controls, and we can even modify the control center. We can remove controls, rearrange them, resize them, and even add new controls. Now, if you find this video helpful, stick around to the end. I'll tell you a little bit more about myself and how you can help support my efforts in creating these videos. All right, let's take a look at this control center on the iPad. Let's go over to my iPad. Let's first look at how we can access the control center. To access the control center, what we do is we just flick down from the upper right-hand corner. That's what I recommend, just a little flick. So when I flick down, we have our control center. So what are these controls? Well, if you wanted to change the brightness, you just slide this up and down and it'll change the brightness of the iPad. You want to access the camera, you tap on the camera control and it'll access the camera. You want to access the calculator, you tap on this control and it'll access the calculator. So that's what controls are. They're basically shortcuts to various features or even apps on your iPad. And this can include third-party apps. To get out of the control center, all you have to do is just tap anywhere over on the left side of this. So when I tap there, the control center is now gone. I flick down from the upper right-hand corner, and when I do, we get my control center. Now, why do I say flick down? Why don't I just drag my finger all the way down? Well, if we look here at the control center, we have different pages. So these are my favorite controls. That's why it has the little heart there. I also have music controls. All I have to do is just swipe up when I'm in the control center. Now I'm looking at my music controls. We can see the music note right down here. And then we also have connectivity controls. These are the default controls. So again, I just swipe up when I'm in the control center, and now I'm looking at my connectivity controls. The reason why I recommend flicking is when you swipe all the way down, in some cases what it may do is rotate through these different pages. As an example, I'm going to close that, and now I'm just going to swipe down here. And when I do, you're going to see that it's going through the different pages here. If you do it slow enough, you can actually go through the different pages. But what I found easy is just flicking down, and then you access the control center, tap outside of it to get out of the control center. All right, so that's basically how we access the control center. Now let's take a look at how we can remove controls, resize them, as well as add new controls. To do that, we just flick down again from the upper right-hand corner. And let's first look at removing controls. To remove controls, what we need to do is we need to get into the edit mode. Two ways to do this. I can long press in this area here where there are no controls. And when I do, it goes into the edit mode. We can see that we have a minus as well as a grab handle on each control there. Or I'm going to tap in this area here to get out of the control center, or to get out of edit mode, sorry about that. We can also go up to the plus here. When I tap on the plus, what it'll do is it'll put it into the edit mode. All right, so now that we're in the edit mode, if I wanted to remove a control, let's say I don't use the calculator here, so I just want to go and remove that. All you do is you just tap on the minus in the upper left-hand corner of that control. Tap on it, it removes it. Let's go and remove focus. Maybe I don't use focus. I tap on the minus in the upper left-hand corner, and it removes that. So that's how we can easily remove a control. We can also move them around. What I'd like to do is move this camera control to the lower right-hand corner. All I do is just drag it, and it moves it to the lower right-hand corner. Let's go and move the brightness here to the lower left-hand corner. Again, I just drag it, and it moves it over there. We're going to move it back. Now, in addition to moving them, we can also resize them. You're going to see that this control here is large, while these here are small. Well, what I'd like to do is make the control for the camera larger. All we do is just drag that little grab handle in the lower right-hand corner of that control, drag it, and we can see that we can resize it. I want to take this notes control and resize that, make that one larger. All we do is just take that handle and we drag it, and it's now being resized. I want to make it a little bit smaller. I can drag it up, and we can make it a little bit smaller. Let's do that with the camera. Now it's a little bit smaller. I want to make them small again. We just drag it over to the right, and now they're small again. So we can resize various controls. You're going to see that these controls do not have any hand. That's because we can't resize them. So we can't resize all of our controls, but most of the controls we can. When you are done, you just tap in this area here to get out of the edit mode, and now any changes that you've made will be saved. So that's how we can resize them. Now what about adding controls? We can do that as well. Well, to do that, we go back into that edit mode. I'm going to tap on the plus here to go into the edit mode. And then down at the bottom, you're going to see add a control. When I tap on that, I'm able to add a control to the control center. So let's say I wanted to add the timer to it. I tap on timer, and now we can see it's been added there. I can resize it, I can move it. Let's go and tap on add a control again. In addition to having Apple controls, depending on what third-party apps, you're going to see that we also have access to third-party app controls. So here's controls for ChatGPT. Tap on any one of those to add it. Here's controls. I'm going to swipe up here for DuckDuckGo. So if I wanted to immediately access search and DuckDuckGo, I tap on that control to add to the control center, and then I have easy access to it. So like I said, basically what this does is this adds specific features from various apps to your control center. Now you're going to see that we have a lot of controls here. Well, if you're looking for a specific control, what you're able to do is search for a control. So let's say I wanted to add low power mode to this. So now I'm going to tap on it, and I type in low, and you're going to see low power mode. I tap on that, and now I have easy access to low power mode on my iPad. I can just swipe down or flick down to get to the control center and easily put it into low power. If it's in low power, I can also take it out of low power through that control. Now, in addition to having these controls here, you're going to see that we have these pages. I mentioned this earlier. I swipe up to access the pages. Well, we can also add our own page. To do that, we go into the edit mode, and then you're going to see we have this little dot here. When I tap on that little dot, what I'm able to do is add different controls here. We have a full page here. Now, what I haven't figured out when you add pages is how we can reorganize these yet. Maybe they're going to add that in an update, but as of this recording, I haven't quite figured out exactly how to do that. But just know that you can add more pages for your controls. We also have access to shutting down the iPad through our control center. If you're not sure how to shut down, which button is it? Is it this button? Is it this button? I have to hold two buttons at the same time. Not quite sure how that all works. Well, if we look in the upper right-hand corner of the control center, we have a power button. All I do is just long press on that, and when I do, I can shut it down. Now I'm going to cancel this because I don't want to power off my iPad here. But that's how you can easily shut down your iPad. You just go to the control center, long press on that, and you're able to shut it down. Now we do have a few different settings. Actually, I should say a couple settings for this. With the control center, what we're able to do is access it from within any app. So if I go to the settings app, I flick down from the upper right-hand corner, I can get to the control center. We can access this from any app. Well, with some apps, what I've read is specifically gaming apps. I'm not a big gamer on the iPad, but when you have a gaming app and you have controls in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to actually access that control center. So it's interfering with your gameplay. Well, what we're able to do is set the iPad to only access the control center here when we're on the home screen. If we're within an app, it won't do it. So how do we do that? Well, basically we go into the settings app here, and then we swipe up until we find Control Center. I tap on Control Center, and then from here I'm able to set if I want to access it within apps. It is on by default. This is why I can access the Control Center from within the Settings app, because this is on. Now if I turn that off, tap on the slider to turn it off. So now if you were to flick down from the upper right-hand corner, you won't get into the Control Center. I'm going to turn it back on. Not a big gamer. This is my demo iPad, so I'm just going to leave that on. The last thing we have here is reset the control center. So if you've added a lot of controls, you want to reset it. Reset it to the default settings. This is where you can do that. Tap on that and it'll reset it to the default settings. So that's how we access the control center as well as modify it on the iPad with iPadOS 26. Basically, we just flick down from the upper right-hand corner. We can access our various controls. We long press or tap on the plus in the upper left-hand corner of the control center to get into the edit mode. When we're editing it, we're able to remove controls, resize them, not all of them, but most of them, and then add new controls, including third-party app controls. We have various pages, and then if you want to turn off access from within apps, you can do that as well as reset the control center. So that is how we work with our control center on the iPad. Now, if you found this video helpful, what you may want to do is like the video. You can subscribe to my channel. You can share it with your friends and family. In addition to that, I have a couple of other options if you want to help support my efforts in creating these videos. I have danstutorials.com as well as dansonlinecourses.com. With danstutorials.com, this is a membership-based site, and not only do I have more videos there, but I also have access to, or I give you access to, an AI assistant modeled after an Apple Genius when you become a member. It is a subscription-based website, so what I'll do for you when you become a member is take out all of the ads from the videos as well as give you access to that AI assistant. Now, if you're not a fan of subscriptions, and I get that, I'm not a fan of subscriptions all the time, I also have another option, Dan's Online Courses. These are courses for specific devices. So it could be the iPhone, the iPad, or the Mac. Now, as of this recording, I only have one for the iPhone, but this video as well as other videos are going to be included in a new course for the iPad. These are one-time purchases. They are not a subscription. When you purchase a course, you just pay one time and you get access to all the videos for that course. Just know that when you become a member or purchase a course, or do both, I do have people that do both, you are helping support a small business. It is just me in a corner office of my house. I'm not part of some large organization. Check out danstutorials.com or dansonlinecourses.com for more information, and thanks for watching.